Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. I would like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are an online therapy company. They are international. They are everywhere in the world. If you can get to an internet, you can get to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They have licensed professional counselors, therapists, everywhere, every state. So go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. There we go. Hi, guys. So you might be wondering, Chris, why are you in another hotel room? Well, okay. So we got back from our vacation. We came home to our guest bedroom ceiling collapsed and caving in because apparently during the 2 weeks we were, in and out and gone, the air conditioner plugged up and the water just backed up. And so it took out my ceiling in my guest bedroom. So we're waiting for Jeremy from Turbo Cooling to come out and fix the air conditioner. And then we got to get people to come in and fix the ceiling. And anyway, so there that is. That was kind of like, and welcome home. And I'm like, Anyway, so there was that. So that's why we're in a hotel room in Gilbert. So anyway, okay, there's that. So Susanna and I are working on, and Andy, I would like this please to be live because, I'm on the podcast because I want everyone to know. Susanna and I are working on doing a seminar. It is not firmed up. She wants to do it in August, like next week after. It's going to be online. So as soon as I get that information and as soon as that's live and ready to go, I will let you guys know. And it's basically going to be, how do you heal after the abuse? What do you need to do? What are the steps? What do you need to do? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So she and I she's going to be handling what she learned from her life. And I'm going to be teaching you guys more stuff about how to heal after leaving the abuse. So anyway, as soon as I get the information on that, I will definitely put that all out and let you guys know. All right. So, okay. Sorry. I'm a little scattered. Jet lag, number one. Number two, house is a mess. Oh my God. Anyway, number three, hi, how are you? So, all right. So today's topic is being in the spotlight / accepting compliments. So, all right. A lot of people have the spotlight effect, and it is a real effect, but the spotlight effect seems to be more prevalent among people who have been abused. Why? Well, okay. So first of all, what is the spotlight effect? So the spotlight effect is you go out in public and you think everyone is looking at you, and you think everyone is watching you, and you think everyone is judging you. Okay. I think a lot of people have that, but I think it's more prevalent among people that were raised by narcissists. Why? Well, because when we're raised by a narcissist, what do they do all the time? Judge, judge, judge. Look at you, look at you, look at you. Rage. It's all your fault. This, that, and the other thing. So we tend to think that other people, because that's been our experience, that other people are always judging us, or always looking at us, or always commenting on us. So I have a couple of really good Psychology Today articles. One was the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect, oh, please let me make that larger because I don't have my reading glasses with me. Oh, there we go. Thank God. Okay. The spotlight effect refers to the tendency to think that more people notice something about you than they do. Dozens of studies in social psychology have supported the phenomenon. In one test, some students wore bright yellow Barry Manilow t-shirts to an introductory psychology class. I'm thinking to myself, those students are probably like, who's Barry Manilow? They then had the costumed wearers estimate how many people in class they thought noticed. It was greatly overestimated. So what explains the spotlight effect? Basically, it is the result of egocentrism, which makes sense because if you're raised by a narcissist, it is literally all about them. And so we learn it's a flea. It's a flea, guys. It's a flea. It's learned behavior. So we got to squish it. So, okay. We are all the center of our own universes, which is true. Narcissists more so. This is not to say we are arrogant or value ourselves more than others. Narcissists do, but again, this is a flea we've picked up from them. Rather, our entire existence is from our own experience and perspective, which makes total sense why so many people have this, because there's 35 to 45% people out there disordered. So, all right, we use those experiences to evaluate the world around us, including other people, but other people not only lack knowledge of, for instance, the stain that you have on your shirt, but they are the center of their own universes too, and in turn are focused on their own things. So, and if you have a healthy parenting situation, you know, because your parent is not always judging, right? And they're not always narcissistic and whatever. And so you know that other people are busy with their own lives and not paying attention and, you know, that whole thing. Okay, back to this article. Hold on. Naive realism and biased blind spots also contribute to this. For instance, people typically do not perceive themselves as biased. We don't. They tend to assume that what they are focusing on is accurate and objective, and generally it's not in that case. In turn, they believe that most other people should notice what they are focusing in on. So in other words, if you are focusing in on, oh my gosh, I have this stain on my shirt. Oh my gosh, everybody's going to notice it because you're biased that you're focusing in on that. You're assuming, which assuming makes an ass out of you and me, that everyone else is also focusing in on this stain. They're not. They're not. Guarantee it. They are not. Because they're so busy with their own lives, they're not even noticing. And if they notice it, it's kind of like, okay, I got a stain. So does almost everybody in the world that goes out and eats out, you know? So especially if you're kind of slobs like me and John, it's like, oh, look, another stain, great, you know? So if we focus in on something, it's the same thing if we focus in on an imperfection on our face. You know, we'll go, oh my gosh, you know, everybody's going to be looking at this pimple that I have on my cheek. No, they're not. You're focused on it, but not everybody else is. So when you're dealing with the hyper-focusing and the, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me, you're going to have to do thought stopping. Like seriously. So that thought pops up, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. Everybody sees the stain on my shirt. Everybody sees the pimple on my cheek. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. First of all, it's not an arm, it's not a leg. Nobody's dying. It doesn't matter. So you have a stain on your shirt. So what? If they're going to judge you for that, you don't want them in your life anyway. Seriously. Same thing with the pimple. It's like, it's a pimple. Pimples happen. Stains on shirts happen. Apparently Barry Manilow shirts happen as well. So, you know, you cannot allow that thought to start doing the rumination and start just circling the drain so that it's preventing you from enjoying your life. And that's what it does. So think of it as a continuation of the abuse. It's a continuation of the abuser going, hey, you, look at that. You're this, you're that, you, guns going off, right? You got to be able to go, okay, there's that thought. Yeah, I got a stain. And so what? So there's a stain on my shirt. So what? I have never in my 57 years had somebody walk up to me and go, oh my gosh, you've got a stain on your shirt. Never, ever. And if a stranger did, I'd be like, yeah, I do. Thank you for pointing it out. I'll make sure and put some spray wash on it. You know, you don't allow other people to judge you. You just don't. We did when we were kids because we couldn't get away from the narcissistic parent, whether that was male or female. But now that we're an adult, you know, it's like, okay, thanks. And, you know, and you go on with your life. I've never had anybody do that because generally the only people that would ever do something like that, cuckoo, because you would never walk up to a total stranger and be like, you've got a stain on your shirt, you know, or you've got acne, you know, it's like, yeah, who does that? Nobody, like literally nobody, unless they're disordered. And if they do that, you know, they're disordered, you walk away from them and you do not take it personally. I think that's what a lot of us struggle with in the beginning when we leave an abusive family or we leave an abusive relationship is that we've learned behavior. We've learned to take all of this stuff uber personally. Like like we're on the alert, we're on hyper alert for attacks, right? And that's part of the being in the spotlight thing. So, because we're waiting for an attack, we're waiting for somebody to come up and say something, we're waiting for we're waiting for the shoe to drop, basically. And it's because of the way we were raised. It's because of the judgment that we had nonstop from mom, dad, grandparents, teachers, whatever. And so we're hyper focused on, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Do they see this? They're looking at me. So the extreme of that becomes agoraphobia. It does, because we're terrified of leaving the house because we don't want to be judged. We don't want to be looked at. We want to be, etc. And you don't want to live your life like that. So basically, the way I want you to look at it is the best way to give the middle finger to your abuser is to go live life to the fullest. Stains on the shirt, acne on the face, and all. And just go have fun. So when those thoughts pop up, you're going to have to go, I hear you and I see you. Who did that come from? Where did this judgment come from? Who judged me as a kid, or who judged me in this relationship that I just got out of? What is this about? Oh, it's my ex. Oh, it's my dad. Oh, it's my mom. Oh, it's, whoever it is, fill in the blank. And then you go, I hear you. I see you. And you have absolutely no relevance in my life right now. I am sending you off. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Go pound sand. Bye-bye. But right when you get work, bye-bye. And you let it go. Because seriously, other people are so wrapped up in their own lives, they're not looking. And this going on in our heads is a continuation of the abuse. So it's almost like the abuser is still there. That's that inner critic. Hello. So it's almost as if the abuser is still there going, and keeping you from living your best life. The best revenge, I kid you not, is live well. Please, for the love of God and all it's holy, go live well. Go do things. Go take yourself out to lunch. Go explore. Go walking outside with a rip or a stain in your shirt. It doesn't matter what other people think. Other esteem is not self-esteem. Self-esteem is self-esteem. Other esteem is other esteem. Does that make sense? Okay, so the other part of being in the spotlight, and this is, I think, another reason why a lot of us avoid being in the spotlight, being extroverts, because number one, you're an extrovert, that makes you an easy target for the narcissist. If you're living at home with a narcissist and you're an extrovert, I know this one from firsthand, you're an easy target because you're always, out, basically. You're like, here I am, I'm doing my life, And so a lot of kids tend to learn to become introverts to avoid dealing with the narcissist. So I've been told a lot of times that I'm a extroverted introvert. Because I can, when I need to, just disappear if I have to. So it's, something to think about. It's like, what is your true nature? And my true nature is, I do love people and I do love getting out and meeting people. And when I was living at home with a crazy parent or two, it was like, hide, be safe, that kind of thing. And then when you go out into public, you do think that everybody is judging you just like the abuser did, but they're not, guys. They're not, I promise. The other aspect of the spotlight effect is that not only do we not want people to notice us because of the abuse, but if we do something extraordinary, or if we do something worthy of, accolades or credit or whatever, who marches in and takes credit for it? That would be the abusers. I can't tell you the number of times personally, and also people coming in and sitting on the couch when I used to have an actual office instead of virtual, but you know what I'm saying. Telling me it's like, hey, I did this great thing and my mom took credit for it, or my dad took credit for it, or, my teacher took credit for it, or, whatever. So they do that. It's what they do. And they do it because they must be at the center of attention all the time. So we kind of get that, what's the word I'm looking for? You get that I don't want to be the center of attention kind of thing going, because it's like we know that it's just going to be taken away from us and the credit is going to go to the abuser, or we do something great. Narcissists are so weird. So they do one of two things. They either take credit for what we're doing, or if we do something really great, they then punish us for it. Because how dare we? How dare we be in the spotlight? How dare we do something amazing? How dare we, it's this dichotomy. It's like they're either this, I'm going to take the credit for it and claim you as my child as long as you make me look good. Or how dare you look good? How dare you do something better than me? How dare you, And so we learn very quickly. It's like, no, thank you. I'll just be back over here. It's like, and so we have this really hard time either being in the spotlight because we know it's going to be taken away from us, or we feel like we're going to be judged all the time, or we're going to be punished for it. So it really is, what's the word I'm looking for? It really is, it's because of how we were raised or what we were around and what we were used to. Bias. It's stepping out of that circle of thinking. It's stepping out of that way of, you've really got to, it's mindfulness, guys. It's mindfulness. You've got to check in and go, is this the internal critic? Is this fear the internal critic? So remember, abusers would desperately love to keep us down and never be better than them, or they would love to literally ride on our coattails or whatever. And I talk about it in my book, What's Wrong with Your Dad, available on Amazon. That, if I did things that made dad look great, he claimed me as his daughter and loved me and the whole thing. But if I didn't, he had no problem humiliating me in public. So a great example is, I did acting because that was my thing. And as every time I got a role, oh, I was his daughter. Oh, look at her. She's great. Oh, she's that. She's that. He then forced me to go to beautician school rather than allowing me to try to figure out what I wanted to do for a living. And it took me 5 years to graduate college when it would have taken me, 4. So he told everyone how stupid I was that I couldn't graduate in 4 years when he was the one that forced me to take a year off to go through cosmetology school. That's just what they do. They're just evil. They're assholes and they're evil and they're mean. And they seek to destroy. So they are intent on ruining life in general. They don't want you to go out. They don't want you to have fun. They don't want you to feel. They don't want you to love. They don't want you to experience great joy. They don't want you to have deep emotions. They don't want you to cry and really grieve. They don't want you to have any other emotion other than what they want you to have, because they cannot feel. And so that, I believe, is what is going on with the spotlight thing. It's like we've been conditioned. Okay, remember conditioning, right? It's like repetitive, intermittent positive rewards, the whole thing. And so it conditions us to either avoid the spotlight or think that we're in the spotlight in a way all the time because of how we were raised and because of how a parent or that teacher or that lover or whoever treated us during that time period. So the first article that I was reading from was from Psychology Today. Okay. So yeah, it's vastly overestimated. And I can attest to that because you guys know I have a t-shirt that has Freud on it, right? This is called The Spotlight Effect, and this is by Heflick, PhD. I have a t-shirt that has Freud on it, right? And it's the dark side of your mom, right? And it looks like the dark side of the moon. So this one guy was like, oh, I love Pink Floyd, blah, 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 blah. And he didn't even read the t-shirt. I'm just like looking at him going, did you look at the t-shirt? Because that's not what this is about, people. So yeah, they don't often really catch the small details, and they don't really pay attention to other people. It's kind of a meta thing, not a micro thing. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, so they're not really looking at us. They're not really judging us. We think they are. We feel they are. How am I doing on time? I cannot see because I don't have my glasses on. Okay, one more article. Hold on. All right. And so this is another article that I pulled up, and this is on choosing therapy, and it's by Hillary Schaefer. Hillary Schaefer. She's a licensed professional counselor. So, signs that you've been raised by a narcissist. Love was always conditional. And this is what has to do with the spotlight syndrome. Again, as I was talking about, if you make them look good, then they'll love you. But that's not love. Let's be clear here. I think survivors of abuse really need to re-experience every emotion and understand that narcissists do not feel a single one of them the way that healthy people do. So their idea of love is absolutely strings attached. It is absolutely conditional, and it absolutely is based on their mercurial and capricious whims. So if they're in a good mood and you make them look good, great. If they're in a bad mood and you're doing something that's making you look good, they'll punish you for it. And it's never the same. It's like you can't ever really get footing as to what's going to set them off. So, it's like I said, you could walk in and say good morning and they'll come unglued. You could walk in the next day and say good morning the exact same way, and they'll be, oh, good morning. And you're sitting here going, okay. So there's no consistency. That's the thing. And so we learn the best thing to do is to just disappear. So yeah, their love is absolutely conditional. And that's where part of where the spotlight syndrome comes in. It was always about them. They would take credit for things that you did. My dad used to love to do that. He thought he was the greatest opera singer in the world. And if I did anything with a chorus or choir or anything like that, he would tell everybody how it was all him. And I'm sitting here going, you're not the one that was doing the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of practice. Hello. So they march in and they just, it's all about them. Always has to be about them. Always. And if it's not, like if you contradict a narcissist, this is why I keep telling people, don't try to get them to see what they're doing. First of all, they don't want to see. And number two, they're not going to change. And they will take that information and punish you with it. So if I tried to correct my dad on something, I would never hear the end of it. He would do one of two things. He would either do the raging, or he would break into 100,000 million people. You don't appreciate me. Why don't you appreciate me? Boo-hoo-hoo. I'm like, oh my freaking God, really? So yeah, they'll do something that's not normal. Normal parents don't behave like that, guys. Normal parents do not behave like that. There is no raging. There is no punishing. There is no, under the spotlight looking at you. What are you doing? What are you wearing? What are you thinking? How dare you laugh so loud? How dare you wear that outfit? How dare you do this? How dare you do that? There's none of that. There is literally none of that. I just spent 2 weeks with part of my family. They're wonderful. You know why? Healthy, normal, great parents. Love them. So it was wonderful to see good, healthy parenting, especially in my family. But again, the credit goes to the parents because they spend therapy and a lot of time working on themselves and a lot of time getting rid of all the fleas. So again, these are fleas. These are fleas. These are fleas. All right, hold on. Let me get to the rest of this article. You weren't allowed to have your own feelings, needs, or your own hobbies. Again, they take over. You were worried about pleasing them or displeasing them. So again, I think that's a lot of where the spotlight thing comes in, is because we're worried what other people think. We're constantly focused outwards because they're constantly focused outwards. They depend on other esteem. It's always other esteem. It's never self-esteem from them, ever. They don't have any. So we learn very quickly to, what's going on? What's going on? Who's here? Who's looking? Who's judging? Who do I have to please? Who do I have to stay away from? Who do I have to, it's crazy. So again, this comes from the way we were raised. Absolutely. And I'm going to go into compliments here in just a minute because I definitely want to hit this. Yeah, they run hot and cold, they do no wrong, and it really affects us growing up because, it's what we've seen. So let's then roll this into taking compliments and imposter syndrome really quickly. So because of all this, quickly get the message that we aren't worthy. Quickly, we get the message that we are not worthy, that they've let us know in no uncertain terms that it's all because of them, or if we do something good, that we're going to be punished for it, and therefore we're not worthy. So a lot of it is what we were, again, it's a flea. So we learn very quickly it's not okay to accept compliments, to acknowledge ourselves, to take credit for our hard work and what we've done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of us grow up with this imposter syndrome. And so we're waiting for somebody to point the finger, kind of like, what was that horror movie? With the pod people. Oh, where they got replaced. Donald Sutherland. No, Donald Pleasance. I always get those two mixed up. Donald Sutherland. At the end of the movie, it was a pod person, and he's like, and we're waiting for that. We're waiting for somebody to point the finger and go, you don't know what you're talking about. You're this, you're that, you're a fake, you're a fraud, blah, 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 blah. So imposter syndrome. And the reason we get that is because of parents, family of origins, teachers, any narcissist that would take credit, put us down, punish us, for doing something well or things like that. So how do you start accepting compliment? First of all, you're going to have to acknowledge that you're going to feel weird doing it. Okay. First and foremost, it is going to feel weird. You're not going to feel normal. So when someone says something nice to us, what do we usually do? We deflect. We do. Oh, no. Well, you too. You've got, oh, no, you're great. No, you're fabulous. Well, thank you. But you're great. So we immediately deflect and we immediately give back to them because that's what we've been trained to do by the narcissist. It's like, oh no, it's all them. They're fabulous. So that's what we do. That's our knee-jerk reaction in 99.9% of us. The other thing we do is we feel incredibly uncomfortable and we start feeling squirmy inside when somebody gives us a compliment. So this is all part of self-care, self-esteem, and really unlearning the fleas, squishing the fleas. So again, this is another flea that we learned from having been around a narcissist. So when somebody gives you a compliment, you've got to understand it is going to feel unnatural. It is going to feel weird. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to get rid of it because that's the inner child. So I'm going to encourage you guys, Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor, Lucia Cappuccini. Cappuccini. No, that's not her name. Cappuccioni. It's not a coffee. You know what I mean. Anyway, so any Inner Child Workbook, Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, or You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, or any of the self-esteem workbooks, you're going to want to get in touch with that inner child and work on both the spotlight syndrome and the freaked outness about accepting compliments. Hi, little one. It's okay to accept compliments. It's okay. No one is going to punish you. Let me say that again. No one is going to punish you for accepting a compliment. It's okay. So figure out how old you were when you realized it wasn't okay to accept compliments. Figure out how old you were when you realized it wasn't okay to be in the spotlight, or when you realized you were suddenly thinking everybody was, looking at you. Hey, little one, nobody's judging you. And if they are, they don't need to be in your life. You have me to make sure that they stay out. So do you see where I'm going with that? You have your adult be the adult, you have your child be the child, and you comfort them and you reassure them and you start teaching them, hey, we don't have to give credit where it's not due. Hey, we can accept compliments and credit for what we have done. You know what I'm saying? So it's working on the inner child. So when somebody pays us a compliment, just understand you're going to feel weird. It's going to feel like, oh my God, I can't accept this. Oh my God. Well, yeah, you can, and you should, because it's part of growing and it's part of healing and it's part of squishing those fleas. So when somebody gives you a compliment, what you're going to do is just recognize you're going to feel weird and you simply say, thank you. And that's it. You don't need to give it back unless you want to. I mean, But don't use that as a deflection. Don't use that as a way to not really accept the compliment. Compliments from healthy people are truly gifts. They are saying, I see you. I see you. And I'm proud of you. And I love you. And here's what I love about you. Wow. That's a gift. So you don't want to deflect that. Because when they would give compliments, or when you got compliments and you had to give them the credit, it was a game and it was awful and it was horrible. Well, you're out of that now. So now you get to accept the compliment. You get to love yourself. You get to. And you just simply say, thank you. And that's it. And don't use the giving a compliment back as deflection. Now, if you truly want to compliment somebody, like somebody, said something about my Hawaiian dresses that I wear all the time, and they too had a really cool Hawaiian shirt. I was like, oh, I love your Hawaiian shirt. That's awesome. But I also let in the compliment about the Hawaiian dress. Does that make sense? So you just simply say thank you and let it percolate through. And then notice that the inner critic is going to pop up and be like, oh, that's not true. They want something. Thank you for your input. Shut the bleep up. Why? Because I say so. Go pound sand now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Do you see where I'm going with that? So it's going to take practice, but this is all connected. The feeling of being in the spotlight, the fear of the spotlight, inability to take compliments. It all is fleas that we have learned from the abuser, because it has to be all about them. So there that is. Okay, let's start answering questions, shall we? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I'm going to need to make this bigger because I don't have my glasses. Okay. Do narcs steal our moments when we achieve something because they themselves didn't achieve anything and are jealous? Oh, dear. Oh, yes. When I graduated, my goodness, when I graduated from my university, my mom acted like she did, was so cringy. Yes, 110%. Yeah, they absolutely. If you achieve something that they have not achieved or could not achieve or whatever, they will absolutely seek to ruin the moment. Okay, so let's be clear. Narcissists do not feel. They do not. They cannot. They do not. They do not feel emotions the way you and I feel emotions, because in order to feel emotions healthfully, you need to actually have empathy. They do not have the empathy card at all. They don't. And if it's not about them, they will seek to make it about them. And if they cannot make it about them somehow, then they will seek to ruin it. So let me be clear here. They will ruin birthdays, anniversaries, holidays. That's their favorite drama, honestly. Graduations, births, funerals. I've seen that too. That's fascinating. Anything that's not about them, they will then make about them. And if they cannot make it about them, they will figure out a way to either create chaos and drama, or they'll ruin it in some way, shape, or form. Guarantee it. Take that to the bank. So again, in my book, What's Wrong with Your Dad? When I graduated, my mom never graduated college. She, I think, had maybe high school education, and that was it. And she never went on, and she never went to college. She never got a degree. So I went through, even with my dad sabotaging and my mom supporting him 100%. It's kind of like, wow, Mom, thanks for not, standing up for me. But, I understand dad was her mom. There we go. Because my grandmother on her side was a total narc. So, okay. So graduated, went through the ceremony. And what did she do? She picked a fight with me. She picked a fight with me over, here's the funny part. If you guys know me, if you saw my videos before I got a sponsor, you know I have a mouth on me. I swear like a sailor. Okay. So I was doing my typical Chris thing and talking and swearing and the whole thing. And she picks that moment in time, that particular moment in time at the family house with the people there to start an argument with me about swearing. She lost in more ways than one. But it's that's what they do. She couldn't, and really what it was really about was the fact that she hadn't ever graduated, and she was jealous, and she was angry, and she was feeling a bunch of stuff that she couldn't put emotion to. because at that point in time, she hadn't read anything. She hadn't gone to therapy. She hadn't, well, she little bits of therapy here and there, but she hadn't really dived into the whole narcissistic abuse thing. And so that's when she started a fight with me to ruin my graduation. She almost succeeded. And then my older sister stepped in and was like, knock it off to her. So yeah. So that that was good. And then, my older sister and I talked it through, and that's when we realized, oh, well, she never graduated. Huh. Isn't that interesting? So yeah, if you achieve something that they have not, yeah, they will set about to ruin it. Absolutely. If you have a family gathering, and it's fun and you guys are having a good time, what my dad would do is he would suddenly decide to kick the dog. Just to start an argument. Honestly, because the dog wasn't doing anything. The dog was doing what dogs do, which is for food, and so he decided to kick the dog. And of course, that upset all of the kids, especially because it was my dog, it just, they are just heinous, horrible, bless you, heinous, horrible people. And they will ruin anything, family gatherings, weddings, funerals. They'll suddenly decide to have some medical issue, a medical emergency in the middle of a wedding or in the middle of it, and there's nothing going on. I've heard that happen too. So yeah, they're just heinous, horrible, awful people. And they will set about to ruin anything, especially if you do something that they did not or could not do. Yes, they will absolutely set about to ruin it. Absolutely. When a narcissist steals your spotlight to get all the attention, does it go wrong for them at times that they accidentally expose themselves through that? Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It depends. It depends on the flying monkeys around, and it depends on how conscious, aware, and awake the people around are. So yeah, it can go wrong for them. Obviously, like with my mom, my sister stepped in and was like, knock it off. But it's, how do I explain that? Yes, if the people around are healthy, they're going to be like whispering to each other, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What is he doing? What is she doing? Why are they doing that? They do. They absolutely do. So, again, personal experience, cleaning out more of my dad's crap, there were literally, I kid you not, 20 to 30 copies of every single newspaper where his name was ever mentioned, because he was the city attorney for both cities when I was a kid growing up. And so he was in the newspaper frequently, and he literally would run out and buy 20 or 30 copies anytime his name was mentioned. And of course, the reason I got the title, What's Wrong with Your Dad?, is because a woman in Gridley walked up to me when I was at Spruce Pharmacy, which is now no longer Spruce Pharmacy. I don't even know what it's called anymore, but she walked up to me and she's like, oh, you're so-and-so's daughter, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, because immediately I'm always like, this can't be good. And she looked at me and she's like, what's wrong with your dad? And I was like, got about 4 hours. And I laughed and I walked out, because I'm not going to engage with a stranger about that. At least at that time. Now I do. But, I was like 18 when that happened. So yeah, their behavior is noticeable to healthy people. It is not noticeable to other narcissists. So flying monkeys, which are either people are just ignorant or they are minor narcissists themselves. But to healthy people, yeah, they notice. They're like, what is wrong with this person? Because that behavior is not normal. So yeah, I think it does backfire on them. Does it always backfire on them? Eventually, I think it will. Does it always? No, probably not. Depends on who's around, and it depends on who's willing to call it or not. So my sister was strong enough to step in and be like, not doing this, lady. This other woman, she was truly curious. And I suspect there was a little bit of gossipy stuff going on as well. But, it's like, yeah, people notice. People do notice. And I think it's important to, if you're still in the situation, you cannot call it out. But if you're out of the situation, I think it's perfectly okay to be like, back off. You know what I'm saying? And I think more of us need to start doing that. Because like I said, 35 to 45% of the population disordered. So yeah, there that is. Do you think that narcissists will feel contempt for you when you don't want what they have? Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So it's really, for a narcissist, it's all about he who has the most toys when they dies wins, right? And they want you to feel jealous and envious. So remember, that's part of the DSM-5. They often feel that people are envious or jealous of them, or they are often envious or jealous of other people. So that is one of the criteria. So yeah, they want you to want what they have. And remember, they are disordered. So they cannot conceive of anyone having a differing opinion than they do. So say, for example, they are into, I don't know, something really expensive, like sports cars or something. Lamborghinis, let's say Lamborghinis, because those are ridiculously expensive. So let's say they're into Lamborghinis. They will expect you, if they buy one, and I'm talking about, really wealthy narcissists, if they buy one, they will expect you to be jealous or envious of that. Or if they have artwork, they'll expect you to be jealous or envious of that. And if you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm not into modern art, thanks, they'll get pissed. They'll get pissed because you're not appreciating what they have, and they want you to be envious or jealous. That is one of the criteria. So that's kind of a interesting thing to observe or to watch, because you can wind them up by having absolutely no interest in what they're collecting or what they're doing or what they like or what they're, and they will sit there and try to harangue you about it. Well, but why, like a little kid. So, or they get angry and they rage. So yeah, it's that's one of the very telling things. It's like, because a healthy, normal person is able to go, okay, let's use milkshakes, for example, strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. It's like, so if the narcissist likes, I don't know, vanilla, and somebody orders chocolate or strawberry, they come unglued if you didn't order the same thing they did. Because they're ready to think the way they think. And if they hate chocolate or strawberry, they expect you to hate chocolate or strawberry. So yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. But yes, they do become very angry if you don't agree with them on anything. It doesn't even need to be, wanting what they want. It's like, it could be an opinion. I like the color blue. Oh, I like purple. How dare you like purple? I like blue. You need to like blue. I'm exaggerating, but it's kind of the same thing. And they'll harangue you. But why? 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 Because they're wanting you to change your opinion. Because remember, the world needs to reflect back to them how great they are, and that they are never wrong, and that they are always right. And that's why they can't handle differing opinions, because if somebody has a differing opinion, well, then that means that they're not the ultimate authority. So yeah, that's a good question. How do I help my child not pick up fleas? Okay. So it's, if you are still in the relationship, or if you are sharing custody, I've said this a million times and I say it a million more. When the child comes back from a visitation with the narcissist, they are going to have fleas galore. And the first, I would say, 2 days are usually undoing those fleas. So what will happen is the kid will go over to the narcissist's house, have to do their time with them. It sounds like going to jail, doesn't it? Oh, don't get me started. We need to change the family court system so badly. Oh my God, don't get me started. So the kid goes over to the narcissist's house, has to spend their time with them. It's not safe for them to act out. It's not safe for them to speak their mind. It's not safe for them to have an opinion. It's not safe for them to ask for chocolate or strawberry milkshake because the narcissist won't allow it. Do you see where I'm going? So then when they come back to the sane parent, they're going to be acting out like crazy. Why? Because it's the ego defense mechanism. So they will not take it out on the abuser because they know the abuser will punish them. So they come home and they take it out on the sane parent. So that needs to be smacked down as soon as it starts happening. Nope. Who are you really mad at? Nope. We do not behave this way over in this house. No, you're not going to climb all over the furniture. I mean, do you see where I'm going with that? Like, because the narcissist either has strict super rules over there or they have no rules at all. Again, it seems to be like extremes, that all nothing, good, bad, black, white. So it's rules or they have strict super rules. The kid comes home, they're going to go, wow, they figure it out and they feel safe again. So basically, as soon as the kid comes back and they start acting out, you let them know you love them. No, we don't do this over here. I know it's not safe to say this to your other parent, but you're not going to take it out on me. Who are you really angry at? Here's your journal. Go write. And then tear it up. You know, you don't need to read it. It's none of your business. Honestly, what they're working on is their stuff. They need to know that their journals are safe. The only time that you want to know what's going on is if you suspect there's sexual abuse going on. Seriously, or if you suspect they're being hit over there. So yeah, it's so you want to make sure that they have an outlet, but you also want to let them know, nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we do not put up with that over here. We do not behave like this over here. I know you don't like going over there. You need to journal this out, you know, that kind of thing. See, this is why I hate the family system, because the kids feel unempowered. They do. And they're so little, they're so young, they don't have the cognitive ability to go, oh, ego defense mechanism, I'm taking out what I really feel about mom or dad over on the same parent over here, you know, so they can't quite put it together. So you're going to have to help them. This is what I'm saying is if you're having to share custody, get them into a damn good trauma therapist. Hard to do, especially when you've got a parent that's like, no therapy, because they don't want eyes on the situation, clearly. So, okay, hold on. Let's see if that answered that question. Okay, so helping them not pick up fleas. Every time a behavior happens that is inappropriate, you correct them. Yes, I know you do this over at your other parent's house. That is not going to fly over here. Here are rules. There are their rules. You know, and you just correct them. And it's like, you don't want to behave like that. And you cannot allow the child to, what's the word I'm looking for? Kids will learn very quickly to play both ends off the middle. So they will act out to the same parent, tell them they hate them, tell them that they're awful. How dare you have rules? You know, this parent doesn't have any rules. How dare you? And you just sit them down and go, you're allowed to have your emotions. However, you need to think about who are you really angry at. And give the opportunity to journal. And we don't behave this way over here, and you will not talk to me that way. And then have consequences. Seriously. You know, it's like, don't allow them to hold you hostage, and don't be afraid of them hating you, because the abuser is pushing that. One, be bad mouthing you the whole time they're over there, guarantee it. And two, that fear of losing them, fear of losing their love is going to cause you to make some really dumb mistakes. You want to keep them. So you're like grasping at them like sand. And instead of grasping at them like sand, you've got to hold them like sand in your hand. Because if you grasp at sand, it's going to slip through your fingers. If you just hold them like this, hold them accountable, hold them with love, hold them with trust, hold them with, do you see where I'm going with that? Sand's not going to go away. But if you're gripping like that, oh yeah, it's going to slip through your fingers. And that's exactly what the abuser wants. The abuser wants you to be fear-based. The abuser wants you to do everything you do out of fear. Because if you're fearful, you're going to give them everything. If you're fearful, you're going to do things that you would not otherwise do out of fear that you're going to lose your child. Do not make decisions out of fear. Seriously, that's why if you can get to a good trauma therapist, if you're in the middle of a highly contested divorce, get to a good trauma therapist to help keep you on an even keel so you don't start making decisions based in fear. And it's frustrating because for therapists, because people will come and will say, hey, don't do this. Don't give this concession to them because this is what's going to happen. But I'm going to lose my child if I don't. No, sweetie, you're not. Because honestly, the way it's set up right now, judges are 50-50. They are loath to take full custody unless there is abuse or neglect going on, provable. Like DCS is involved, that whole thing. So they give in and they give in and they give in, and then there's no rights. They're not seeing their kid. And it's like, you cannot make decisions based out of fear. You cannot. Seriously. Get with a good trauma therapist. Make sure you have somebody who understands dealing with a high conflict divorce that can help you manage, mitigate your fear so that your decisions are solidly based. Lori Hellis's book, The No Nonsense Guide to Divorce, great book, highly recommended. It demystifies the legal profession. It demystifies exactly what happens during a divorce, because I don't think people really understand how foreign the courtroom really is. It does not work the way you think it should. So it's good to get a really good solid base of what is going on, what is happening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Why should I send the A letter? I think it will make me feel better. Oh, Lord, no, no, no. Sweetie, listen to me now, believe me later. Angry letters are just for you. There is not an enlightenment stick big enough to whap those idiots upside their head to make them understand what they've done. First of all, they don't care. Second of all, it will give them pleasure knowing that they've hurt you. Do not hand them ammunition. Don't. The best revenge you can give to a narcissist, if you can, absolute no contact, and they never enter your thoughts again. Seriously. So the angry letters, when you write and burn the angry letters, this is what I often recommend. When you write and burn the angry letters, you do it in no uncertain terms. The good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific, the unforgivable. At the very, very end, take your power back. You know what? You did all this stuff to me. Guess what? I'm in therapy. I am working on my self-esteem. I am working on my boundaries. I am living my best life. I am going to go out in public. I'm going to take myself out to lunch by myself. I don't care if I have a stain on my shirt. I don't care if it's a very old shirt with a stain on it. I'm wearing it, and I'm going to go do what I want to do. And guess what? This is goodbye. This is it. We are done. I am done with you. Be gone, be gone, be gone, and then trot it out to the barbecue and burn it. Sending it is not going to achieve what you think it's going to achieve. If you leaving was not enough of a wake-up call for them to figure it the bleep out, you're sending a letter. All that's going to do is they're going to get it and they're going to go, oh, goody, game on. And then you're going to get a letter back from them. So let me put it to you this way. My dad divorced his first wife, was married to my mom for 45 years. They divorced, 47, 48 years, probably, by the time he died. They sent letters back and forth to each other every week. Every week, recrimination. It never stopped. The week he died, we got a letter from his ex-wife. And I'm just like, are you effing kidding me? So all it's going to do is give them fuel for the fire. The best thing to do is to put them in your rearview mirror and never think of them again. And the angry letter is for you to get out all of the stuff that they did. It's two-part here. It's kind of like validation that, yes, this happened. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was harmed. And this is goodbye. This is it. We're done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? It's like not answering, not going to pick up the Hoover, not going to talk to you, and you just burn it and you let it go. Narcissists will Hoover. It can take 20 years, but they'll do it. Guarantee that at some point in time, they'll run out of people to use and they will circle back around. That's why you're doing the letters, is so you remind yourself what you went through, that your emotions are valid, that they're a POS, and you don't ever need to talk to them again. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Go pound sand. Bye-bye. So it's not going to get you what you want. They're going to use whatever you say in that letter, and then it's just going to start. And that's what they want. They want the anger. They do. The anger is the only emotion they understand, because they do that really well. So if they can hook you and get you to keep going back and forth with them, that's narcissistic supply. Cut them off at their knees. Cut them off at their knees. Do not give them anything. All right, let's see here. Being so aware of narcissist or unconscious people seems most people are in these categories. How do we make friends with healthy people? I'm a single mom and too many of my peers don't make good choices. Well, it's going to take discernment. It is. It is going to, oh dear, I keep getting a thing saying that our connection is unstable. Huh. Okay. It's going to take discernment, and it's going to take practice. You know, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have a list of deal breakers. That is a really good thing to do, is a list of deal breakers. So you just write out, you know, what you won't put up with. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that you will not put up with because you shouldn't. Disrespect, name calling, choices, drama, lots of drama. Nope, don't need that. Chaos. Nope, don't need that either. So yeah, did you do a list of deal breakers? Does it take time to find a good set of friends? Yeah, it does. And you're going to have to wade through a lot of them, because remember, 35 to 45% of the population is disordered because they've been raised by disordered parents themselves and they haven't sought help. So yeah, if somebody's working on themselves, then that's great. You could probably do that. But if they aren't, no way, man, no way. So okay, let's see, how are we doing? Is that it? That is it. All right, guys, I am done with the questions. I can't remember what I'm talking about next week. Wednesday, I will do more questions that I missed or questions that come in on the internet. And then I will have the topic for next week, because I can't remember. Oh, wait a minute. I think, ooh, why is it so hard to get over them? I think that's the topic. I'm not 100% sure, but I will go and look. So, all right, guys, go have a great week. And hopefully my air conditioner will be fixed. And I will talk to you later. Bye.